I felt pretty much like a piece of meat in a butcher shop. I was the new kid on the island. I was the new lay. I was the new main squeeze.
In the middle of the night, I went over for a change of guard, and the man who was there grabbed my hand, and I realized that he had his penis out of his pants and was trying to put my hand on his penis.
I only remember having one drink, and the next morning I had woke up and my cell phone, it had pictures of these people basically having sex with my body while I wasn't awake.
Just see the hashtag I am Vanessa Guillén. All those men and women in our service suffering from sexual harassment. They take it as a joke. My sister's no joke. My sister's a human being, and I want justice, and I want answers.
Well, I joined the military to escape from a rural community and to make something of myself. I had a career set out. I wanted to see the world, and I wanted to support our country.
I served on active duty in the Army from 2000 to 2005, including a year-long combat deployment to Iraq as part of the 101st Airborne Division Air Assault.
After high school, I decided that I was going to join the Navy. My family was super supportive of that. I wanted to be a part of something bigger than myself. I had gotten into college. It wasn't like that was my only option. You know, I was the captain of my cheerleading team. I was very girly, but wanted to just travel. I wanted to, protect the country. And, I just wanted to say I did that.
The misogyny and the hazing started pretty much when I graduated boot camp. But honestly, looking back from my 51-year-old self, I felt pretty much like a piece of meat in a butcher shop. I was the new kid on the island. I was the new lay. I was the new main squeeze. My supervisor asked me to meet him at the club. I wanted to grab a quick bowl of soup, and he said, hey, I want to talk to you about your performance. Why don't you come outside where it's not quite so loud? Once my supervisor got me outside, he pushed me into the bushes where nobody could see me, and he raped me. And it was probably the most horrific thing I've ever experienced. After the rape, I reported it to the chaplain trying to get help. I talked to a couple of people at the barracks. When I talked to the chaplain, he basically told me, you need to keep your mouth shut and you need to move on and forget about this. Little did I know, the chaplain was good friends with the person who raped me, and he had a private conversation with that person rather than making the right reports. And a couple days later, I was walking out of my barracks to go into my evening work, and I was raped again by the same man. And he told me I should learn to keep my, mouth shut. Felt like I strongly just needed to end it. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't help myself. So I attempted to overdose, and then I was shipped off the island immediately, and I was sent to Bethesda, Maryland, to the hospital. Before I went to Bethesda, I was actually put into the brig for a few days for attempted destruction of government property. Yes, I was government property. I filed with the VA and I said I was raped. And at first the VA said, no, you're not. You were never raped. It's all in your mind. And I said, no, I was raped. And in 2003, I actually was able to get partial benefits from the VA.
No prosecution was ever made against my perpetrator. In hindsight, it was easier for the military to get rid of me than to admit to the rape.
A couple months into deployment, they let us have liberty. We ended up going to a bar At the time, I didn't know what to expect. We're in another country, so that's where we went. Everybody ordered drinks, and I just remember, like, my mom always used to tell me, because I was only 19 at the time, never to accept drinks from anybody because you never know what someone can put in it. And at that time, it just wasn't even thinking about that. All through boot camp and everything, you're told, this is your family, these people have your back, you have their back. I only remember having one drink. It was like green and purple. Shortly after that, I guess, I remember nothing. A group of people walked me to my room, and at the time we were staying, I had woke up, and my cell phone, it had pictures of these people basically having sex with my body while I wasn't awake. And I just remember feeling so hurt and confused, and it just I don't know what happened. One of them was, I considered a friend at the time. So I went to him and I showed him, and I was like, what is this? Why was this okay? Why did this happen? And basically he was like, what are you talking about? Like, that, don't be stupid. You wanted to drink with us. That's what you asked for. Like, don't turn this into something it's not. At the time, he got arrested. He got taken from work. I went straight to medical, and they did like a rape kit. They did like photographs and tests. They asked me what I was wearing. Was I drinking? Am I promiscuous in any way? Because apparently that matters. The whole thing is a joke. The system, the people that deal with it. I deleted everything prior to like my life before that. I like deleted friends. That still really hurts because it's not something I'll get back. But it's like the trauma itself. I've had so much healing and like therapy that I can openly talk about that. But it's just crazy when I go to talk about like my actual self or like who I was. I can't.
I experienced chronic low-grade sexual harassment basically throughout my military career. There were also some specific incidents that really rose above that level to a point that I felt I couldn't stay silent. When I was still in a training environment, at one point, one of my classmates asked if I could bring over his homework. And when I went to his house, his wife was not home, and he asked if I would have sex with him. I said, absolutely not, and went to leave. And he stopped me and said, please, will you at least perform oral sex on me? That's not the term that he used, but that was clearly his intent. And I, again, said, absolutely not. You're married. This is not appropriate. He persisted in asking if I would engage in sexual acts with him until I was able to leave his house. One night, in the middle of the night, I went over for a change of guard, and the man who was there grabbed my hand, and I realized that he had his penis out of his pants and was trying to put my hand on his penis. I jerked back in total surprise and expressed that I was not interested. I didn't feel in danger. I was carrying an M4, but I was appalled that someone would behave so unprofessionally, so inappropriately. What bothers me even more was the reaction from my peers, that when I spoke to other soldiers and asked what I should do, should I report? The response that I got was, well, why are you going to ruin his career just because you can't take it? Later in my military career, when we were in Kuwait preparing to invade Iraq, a staff sergeant who at that point exceeded me by 2 ranks told me that he and his wife really enjoyed rough sex, but she wasn't around and he'd like to break the back axle of a Humvee on me. This was in front of other junior soldiers, men who were made so uncomfortable by this that they walked away, leaving me alone. The implicit message was that we were not real soldiers, that we were not equal. From 2016 to 2018, I was honored to serve within the Department of Veterans Affairs, running their Center for Women Veterans. I was also able to work towards ensuring that survivors of sexual harassment and assault were able to access high quality care and equitable access to benefits. There is a part of me that wonders if we will be able to see genuine change under the current administration. When the commander-in-chief has been credibly accused of sexual assault and expresses no remorse for it, what message does that send to more junior folks?
I truly hope that with everyone that's come out, with myself and the hundreds of other women that have come out and shared their story, I hope that this creates a change.
I do have hope in the Vanessa Guillén bill. I think that by creating that, the military is being put on notice.
When the Vanessa Guillén disappearance and ultimately murder case hit the news cycle, I witnessed an outpouring of rage and grief from military women and women veterans, unlike any that I've seen before.
The murder of Specialist Vanessa Guillén has become a catalyst highlighting sexual harassment and sexual assault within the military. It takes a shot at the system and it rattles the system of the trust that you have to have in this profession.
I really have seen, since this kicked off, things that give me some hope for the future. This cannot stand. This is not acceptable. Not one more.